welcome to Cinema Trip Reviews. Today we're going to be reviewing the new blockbuster Mortal Kombat. It's the official movie. We had the last Mortal Kombat movie we've seen was Annihilation, and that movie was abysmal. And this is far better than that one, man. This week we got Alex joining us to talk about MK. He's a big fan of the series. Me and him been playing Mortal Kombat for years now.
Been whooping my ass in Mortal Kombat for years.
And of course, Vern, who joined us last time on when we reviewed King Kong versus Godzilla, which was a good time. But this time we're reviewing, of course, the new Mortal Kombat movie directed by Simon McQuaid, however you say it. It's his first directorial debut. He hasn't really done much before, but for the first time, I think he did all right. I don't think he wrote the movie, so a lot of the issues with the movie is not on him at that point. But pretty much, Mortal Kombat is pretty self-explanatory. It's about the tournament, but this movie, we didn't get the tournament.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We didn't get the tournament this movie, which I can see why people didn't like it, but I understand why. I mean, they're setting it up for future movies. And it opens, we talk about the main characters, Scorpion and Sub-Zero. You know, it just starts off with pretty much their rivalry from way back. Way back.
It was real cool to see.
That's probably one of the best parts of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it shows the origin story for both of them, where Sub-Zero's clan came and wiped out Scorpion's whole clan, and he was the last of his bloodline, and that's what he was trying to do, is kill off his bloodline. But there was a baby that survived that they kind of hid away, which ended up over the generations and generations, the bloodline and everything, it goes to Cole Young, which is a new character in the Mortal Kombat series, which
I was very confused by this. As somebody, you two are very, very heavy Mortal Kombat fans. With me, I like it, but I don't know the story. I really don't. I played it growing up, but I never really knew the story. So I didn't even know if this guy was a new character or not.
He is the only new character in the actual movie. The basic, there's not really much you're missing from the games, where the basic plot is just they have a Mortal Kombat tournament every year. It's 10, if you win for 10 years straight, you pretty much gain control of all the realms, and it's you can have fighters from all these different realms. It's Outworld.
See, and I got that in the movie because they explained that a little bit. But I was really confused for my fault. I really wanted to see this movie, but I had no prior knowledge. I know, but I didn't know about the Earth realm and the other. What's the other one called?
The Nether realm is hell, pretty much in there. But
with
there's
the other
Outworld.
There's Outworld. Yeah, and the games, that's really what it's about. In the later games, it gets really confusing. It borderlines Metal Gear type, not
but
that
there's lore.
but yeah.
Regardless of if it's confusing, if you're into it, you know what's going on. So I respect that, because they're going into it with okay, there's going to be new people, but there's also going to be people that love this genre or this series and want to see at least some fan service type of stuff,
Yeah. And
to be honest,
go ahead, Alex. No, you're good.
To be honest, that is where my first complaint and compliment. I thought they set it up very, very well.
Yeah.
Where outsiders could understand what was going on with it.
Yeah.
I was confused as hell, man.
See, and Wyatt knows a little bit more about it, but I watched it with my family and stuff, and I didn't feel like any of them were confused. Now, it's not a movie you take too seriously, so I don't know how much you need to know. But then my first complaint is, and I'll get into a little bit more, but Cole Young is my first complaint about the movie.
He's my complaint too as well. I think he was totally unneeded. You didn't need him in the movie at all.
He barely said anything.
He turns into a Mary Sue too in the end. That's a term of somebody who is this all godly, all power. He gets his ass beat by Goro just to be oh no, I absorb all your power. Yeah, now I absorb all your power and I can just shoot you back. That's not really how that works. Could you?
Yeah.
And I know it's a movie, but could you imagine that in a Mortal Kombat game if there was a character that if the more he got beat up, the stronger he became? How would that be fair? Just get your ass open and pow, you're dead. I'm sorry, I win. Bullshit.
Yeah, a lot of people were pissed off that they didn't include Johnny Cage. They felt like Johnny Cage should have been the Cole Young role. for the movie. But I mean, as you saw at the very end of the movie, they, spoiler alert, obviously, they have the poster for like Johnny Cage, like one of his movies, and that's like he
Man,
sets up for coming in at the end.
I want to see Ryan Reynolds play Johnny Cage.
I mean, yeah, I'm definitely down with Ryan Reynolds being
want to
Johnny
see
Cage.
It so bad.
I think he would be perfect for Johnny Cage. But I mean, Cole Young, even if you didn't include Johnny Cage, you could have just done the movie with Liu Kang, Kung Lao, like and Sonya and Jax
Sonya
that they've
Blade.
had. Yeah, Sonya Blade.
Striker, fuck it, dude. Like
Striker,
there's plenty of characters.
At least a character from the games, man.
Yeah.
Not like this new guy.
Cole wasn't like in the beginning. He wasn't. I didn't hate him that much. I was like, all right, new character. I get it. It's a new audience. Whatever. It's when he got his powers, dude, that I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, this is a cheat code. Like, what the fuck is anybody supposed to do to that? Like, if Goro is sitting there and Goro's like main thing is he's this super strong thing and he's just whooping his ass just for him to turn around, I'm like, that's not fair, you know?
Yeah,
like he didn't outsmart Goro. He didn't like outmaneuver him. He just got his ass beat.
In the
his
original
suit was like,
movie,
I got you.
Johnny Cage did his signature like split and nut punch
And
took
dope.
him out, and then like pushed him off a cliff.
Yeah,
Eventually,
dope.
but it was dope.
He broke his $300 pair of sunglasses,
Yeah.
so like he deserved it.
Crushed him. But I mean, after that first scene, that really like sets it up for the main movie, because I mean, right off the bat, where Scorpion's fighting off those henchmen, like blood's flying everywhere. Like he stabs the dude in the top of the head, and you just see like blood just start bursting out from all like the helmet and stuff. It was awesome. And then you have like the cool fight between them. And then it kind of goes to present day with the Cole Young, which was literally like his story, man. It was like that was the only down parts of the movie for me, because everything else that had to actually do with the game, it felt great. It felt fine. It felt like it went with the movie well, whereas like the Cole Young parts like just didn't feel like they fit within the movie.
It felt like it was a different story. Like it was just like thrown in there. I agree.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, I mean, Cole Young, Jax comes and investigates him. I mean, Jax got his arms. You get to see him. You're like, oh, why he doesn't have the arms yet? The robot arms. Yeah,
that's exactly how I felt the first time I saw Jax. I was like, what the? He don't even got robot arms in this movie? And then I was like, oh.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Yeah. So Jax and Sonya have been hearing about, like, they've been investigating the tournament for all these years. Jax has the mark of the, like, I thought it was pretty interesting with like the MK symbol, that like the fighters have like the symbol on them that gives them like the powers that they have, and like if you kill someone, like it goes to you then, which is pretty interesting. That was never in like the games that I know of, and it was never in like the other movies. I know in like the Annihilation movie, they had like the bad guys only had like the little tattoos on them that whenever they died, like they turned into the little dragons and then they blew up. It was stupid, but I mean that was like the only thing that was kind of an Easter egg, I guess. But yeah, they're investigating the tournament, and then they start like trying to find all these fighters that have that tattoo, and they run into Cole Young, and then boy, Sub-Zero is like the Terminator in this movie. It's like a whole different take on Sub-Zero, which I thought was really cool.
Well, I think it's cool because it's not quite the Sub-Zero you even start playing with in the first game. Like this is definitely his older brother before the Sub-Zero you play in the game is. Like this is definitely him. Yeah. Like the bad Sub-Zero. Which nothing's really ever explored too far. I think there was some things, but not. This is the first one that I felt like, okay, he's the bad guy, like he's supposed to be.
Yeah, and I mean, you really get the sense of that, man, because like he's a bad guy. I mean, that scene where he just comes down that street and he just starts raining ice down upon like that restaurant they're at and everything, and just starts coming after him. And then he just kind of like pops up whenever they get in the car with Jax and stuff. He just kind of shows up down that back alley and he's like, "Where did you come from?" I didn't know Sub-Zero could teleport.
Come with me if you want to live.
But I mean, that's whenever you actually see like Jax goes to fight him and Sub-Zero takes him to town and
takes him to town
and it straight up rips his arms off after
freezes his arms, and it's wild because I'm just watching this, just like I didn't know if he was gonna kill him or just do his arms, because I was like, well, I thought this dude had metal arms, so but like the ice just kept going up and up and up, and I thought it was gonna maybe just be fatality, because I didn't really watch too many trailers, so I was trying to just kind of, I didn't know how much of the movie Jax was in. So I was just when it just broke his arms off, I'm like, oh my god. So obviously you knew what was coming next at that point, you know.
Yeah.
So on that scene, cool little Easter egg, if you look, and I don't know why I noticed, but in the background, it's the down forward like square. It says it in graffiti on the back of the wall.
I didn't see
noticed.
it
I was like,
while I was
hey,
watching it,
which is ice. That's how he does his ice.
Yeah, I didn't see it while I was watching it, but I did see, like, I think IGN or someone posted it where it has like the combo that he would use the ice ball, like in the back, like in graffiti on the wall in the background. Like that's super cool.
I've been waiting for this review. I haven't read any of the Easter eggs yet. I really did. I was like, I'm gonna look for Easter eggs because there's always Easter eggs in all these movies.
Oh yeah, man, and there's a ton of them in this, to be honest.
Oh, see, I only noticed a few from after that one.
Okay.
Like, and I'll just get to them.
Yeah, I mean, from there, Cole has to go meet Sonya, and he ends up showing, like, you meet Kano for the first time.
Best character in the goddamn movie.
He ends up stealing the whole movie. Kano. The whole
Best
movie
character.
he ends up stealing.
Funny as shit.
Funny
I love
as
when he gets
shit.
his powers.
Yeah.
Funny as shit. And I mean, he just plays that asshole so well in the movie too. And then you actually get to meet Reptile in the movie. He shows up, and he is in, like, I was kind of expecting them to show Reptile as like the ninja first, because that's how he is in like the earlier games. But man, they went like the full reptilian reptile. Yeah. And I mean, that fight was pretty cool. And then that's where, like, you see one of the, like, the first main fatalities is Kano rips his heart out. And
which is definitely a Kano fatality.
Yeah, definitely a Kano fatality. And I mean, it's just so, like, I couldn't help through the whole movie whenever they would do like the fatalities and even just fighting, I just had a stupid grin on my face because it's so much like the game. Like, even when they're just straight punching each other, you just see blood flying. And whenever, like, the camera goes back to them, their face isn't really bloody, but when they're fighting, you just see, like, blood flying, like, from
just like the game, man.
Just like the game, man. It's great, man.
It's a Mortal Kombat movie.
That's what I mean. Like, they did a good job of fan service, but at the same time, like, you could tell it was like some industry shit at the same time.
Yeah.
But it was still a good balance.
People getting like their heads smashed off of rocks and stabbed, and it's just like not impacting their fighting at all.
It's like, I remember, this is kind of unrelated, but I remember being younger playing some racing game, and when my uncle walked by, saw me wreck the shit out of my car and just spin around, keep going. And I remember him making a comment about like, man, this ain't realistic or something like that, or just like, I remember me just thinking like it's a video game, you know what I mean? But like, I just remember that, like, just car just flying at 180, wrecks, keeps rolling, you know what I mean? That's what I want out of my video game. That's what I want out of my Mortal Kombat movie.
Exactly. And I mean, that's like, after that, then that's when like Kano guides them to like the temple they were looking for, and they meet Raiden, and that's when you're introduced to all the other characters like Liu Kang, Kung Lao, and Raiden. I mean, it's pretty cool, man. And they're already developed. They already have their powers pretty much. And that's whenever they start like training the other guys to like find their inner power that they have.
This is, at this point, we're about halfway through the movie, and another big complaint I have is it took too long to get there. Yeah. Like, I understand what they're doing, but the first half of the movie isn't paced nearly as well as the last half of the movie. And then even the last half of the movie, like in the very like 15 minutes, you're like, "Whoa, that was fast!" Like, that zoomed right by. But this is where I think the movie really starts showing its true colors. Like, okay, this is what I want to see.
For sure. And I mean, that's when you actually see the villains of the movie. It's like Shang Tsung, who I think they didn't really show enough of in this movie. I thought he was really going to be kind of the big bad of the movie, but I guess he wasn't. But they kind of explain kind of in line with the games, where I think Outworld has won like 9 of the past Mortal Kombat tournaments. If they win the next one, they pretty much control everything. They're going to take over Earth. They're going to take over all the other realms and shit. And pretty much Shang Tsung's like, even though we won these last 9, we're going to cheat. We're going to go out and we're going to go out and try to kill all these fighters before the tournament even happens. We're just going to cheat even though we won the last 9.
Yeah. So that's why they ended up not having the tournament, you know.
Well, it's leading into the tournament.
I think the tournament's going to be in the next movie. But yeah, because I mean, there still is surviving heroes. There's definitely a lot of villains still.
Right.
But I mean, Shang Tsung pretty much, like, they go in to kill the rest of the tournament fighter, like the good guys on the Earth realm, and that's when Raiden like puts up that big huge force field. It pretty much buys them some time to train, and pretty much that's whenever you really figure out like you have like the training montages like from Rocky and shit of them just fighting and Liu
have
Kang
a montage.
Sweep kicking over and over and over
yeah,
again.
and that was another Easter egg. Is like that was the go-to move. Is like the sweep kick where Liu Kang is just sweep kicking over.
Sweep kicking the shit out of Kano.
Oh man!
See, I didn't put 2 and 2 together there, but that's great.
Yeah, it was
that's
hilarious.
Great.
And
wow.
I mean, and then we had one of my favorite scenes of the movie as well. It wasn't even a fighting scene. It was whenever they're sitting around dinner, and they're just roasting the shit out of Kano the whole time, just trying to get him pissed off because they kind of like you can kind of tell they know this is his way of unlocking like his ability and shit, and it works. It really works.
He's just like, man, oh my god, he's like fucking laser beams, and he's like shitting on the dude.
Oh,
what yeah. Fires for pussies.
That's fucking pussy shit. Like, so you just, I love that, bro. It was so funny.
Yeah, I mean that was great, and I mean you don't really figure out Cole's until later, you know. But Kano's, of course, is his eye. He has like the scratches on, like kind of. His face is kind of going to be morphing over the next couple movies, I'm guessing, to like that metal plate he has that he normally does.
Back. It looked like she killed him because how'd she get the thing?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows? I mean, that's the thing with Mortal Kombat, man. No one. It's like Marvel movies. No one's ever really dead.
Yeah.
That's why, like, some of the cons I have on the movie could be, you know, made right in the next couple. Who knows? That's whenever like Cabal, which is cool. We never got to see Cabal in live action before. We got to see him.
They thought they did well.
Yeah, I thought they did really well with him. I guess he worked with Kano in the past, and then he kind of, you know, convinced him to be Benedict Arnold.
Yeah.
And just like pretty much just fuck up their whole agenda. He took like Raiden's staff and like broke it and shit, which made the force field come down. And that's when they plan their attack and go fight him. And you know, we got to see some cool moments. One of my other favorite moments of the movie is Kung Lao's fatality on that like bird lady, bro. Like I didn't know if it was gonna happen, but man, as soon as he threw that hat down, I got excited because like man, just like the games, it like splits her straight in half. Awesome.
That was a cool part.
Awesome. It gets really rushed from there. Because I mean, Shang Tsung like kills Kung Lao by stealing his soul. Great. Which is something that Shang Tsung does, is he steals people's souls and shit. And then he actually turns into them whenever he fights. He can actually morph into that person and fight as them, pretty much. That's his power.
But they never showed that, right?
They never showed that in this movie, which I'm hoping in the tournament next time, if he actually, like, steals other fighters' souls, if he's fighting Liu Kang or something, and he's just morphing in between characters, that'd be really cool to see. Yeah, from there, it got really rushed. Cole Young's like, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't think I'm cut out. I'm never going to find my power. I'm just going to take my stuff and go home.
Sit your ass on the bench.
And during the whole, like they broke in and they started fighting the fighters. That's whenever they sent like Goro after Cole Young, which I understand it was wasted. I understand you wanted to put Goro in just like to, you know, draw a lot of more people, I guess. But man, you didn't have to do him like that. You didn't have to do him so dirty. You gonna have him get fatality'd by a dude that's never been even in the Mortal Kombat series.
Like, I didn't think he looked that good. The CGI, to be honest with you, it looked kind of like weird to me.
It looked weird in some parts. Definitely, it looked better than in others. But man, I just thought they did him so dirty. He went out like a bitch.
Well, even the wife, the non-Mortal Kombat wife, was like fucking with him.
Yeah, I think she's the one that stabbed him.
Like, this is fucking Goro. This is like Prince of the whatever his race is called. You know, like he's not this mindless.
He was the last. He was the champion of the last tournament.
Exactly. Like, and they just treated him like a bitch.
Like a bitch. Like you find Cole's power, which was like what you talked about before. He has like just that armored suit that can just absorb your blows, and then he uses them, and then he has like some like I don't know what they're called, but like
police, like striker batons,
batons, and one has like a blade
they just,
on
like, grow out of him, and I'm like, what is this fucking shit going on?
I don't know. I thought like obviously a movie about Mortal Kombat is going to be cheesy. I liked the cheesiness of like the line deliveries, but man, I just did not like Cole's character, man, at all. It was just totally not needed. I mean, it was only needed for the Scorpion storyline, really. but
which wasn't needed anyways. Anybody who's getting into Sub-Zero or into Mortal Kombat, that's the one story you do know. They're enemies, you know? Like you built that up from the beginning. I didn't need Cole, you know?
Yeah.
He didn't need to be there.
You could have had just like, because usually like Scorpion's like, he's taken control of by like Quan Chi or one of these sorcerers, and then it's kind of used as like a warrior, like a pawn in their game in a way. But man, you could have brought him back somehow other than that, but I don't know.
He could have just came back and fought him, you know? Like like that's fine.
Yeah. But I mean, Goro goes out like a punk, and I mean, Raiden just knows and then teleports him back.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you're good now.
And then they come up with the plan that we're not going to fight them all together. Raiden's going to teleport them different areas so they can fight them one-on-one, which was really cool because you actually got to see different stages in a way of like how like the game is. Like you got it was rushed. But you actually got to see one of the cool stages from the game where it's like the huge like walkway. I was hoping that he was gonna like throw him off into the spikes or something, like a stage fatality, but that
that's a Jax fatality. I was with that when he smacked his head. But that guy was nobody too, you know. He seemed to
he wasn't he wasn't like a new character. Apparently he is a reworked character from the games. I did look into him because I was like, who the fuck is this guy? But
I'd have been happier if that was Goro. If Jax was smacked Goro's head, I'd have been fine with that, you know?
Yeah.
Jax can be the hero and kill Goro.
But man, yeah, that fatality was dope too, where he just
that was cool.
Blows his head up with his hand. It was wild, man. And then, I mean, you have the fight with Mileena.
Cool.
Which
I wasn't very happy with Mileena, to be honest with you.
I wanted her to have the mask at least.
I wanted the mask. I wanted the purple. Like I was watching it with my girl. I was like, I don't even care about the skimpy outfit. I just want purple or pink. Because I just feel like I don't know. I felt like that wasn't Mileena to me.
The only thing I did like about Mileena is I liked that they waited to the last scene to like really split her jaw.
Yeah.
Like it was like you could tell it was fucked up, but it wasn't like the last fight where they really like ripped it apart.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that.
Cool, but like that was probably one of my biggest complaints was like just her portrayal. Like I wanted to see some more of the. I'll give you more fan service, damn it. Like I wanted pink or something. At first when I saw her, I wasn't even sure it was her until I saw the blades. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I actually have a similar complaint and it's like it was a hit or miss for me where I didn't feel like all the costumes were as much as I wanted to. Like they went for this cheesy, like Sub-Zero for me wasn't blue enough. He just looked like he was in armor.
I felt in some scenes he looked bluer than others, but I totally agree with you.
There was a few scenes where I was just like, this dude just looks like he's in black armor, you know? Like he doesn't look like Sub-Zero or Mileena, but where like
Kung Lao was probably the most faithful. Like, bro, Kung Lao looked exactly like even Liu Kang looks exactly like he does in the
Sonya,
games.
I thought looked fine. Now that's an easier costume.
I wanted more Liu Kang in the movie too. That's another one of my gripes. Is like, why wasn't there more Liu Kang? But there was all this time for this Cole dude. But you can't get any more Liu Kang.
I thought it should have been around Liu Kang. But
I'm okay not making Liu Kang the hero.
I understand why they didn't, just because the other the old movies were about Liu Kang.
That makes sense. But like maybe in the future, give me some more Liu Kang, you know?
That's what I'm hoping. Because I mean, in the games at least, Liu Kang's the one that actually wins the tournament for Earthrealm again. Like he's the one that actually ends up winning it. So hopefully, maybe get some more Liu Kang. Because I mean, he seemed like he already knew the ins and outs of everything. Dude was like what Bruce Lee says. He's like, be water. I felt like Liu Kang was water in that movie, bro. Because like, man, he was kicking ass. But I mean, you got to see his fatality against Cabal. Cabal got to use a lot of his powers too, where he's just running super fast. He has like the hook blades. But yeah, you get to see like his animality or whatever, where he turns into that dragon. That like eats him. And then Sonya and Kano's fight, which is like the classic rivalry as well between Sonya and Kano. And she
also went out kind of like a bitch.
Also kind of went out like a bitch. She threw some shit.
Kind of like
threw some shit in his eye and like burn out his eyeball, and then choked his ass out. Yeah. And then she stabbed him in the eye with that with the lawn gnome that he hates.
Yeah,
so there's a call back to the earlier in the movie. But yeah, I definitely was way more rushed in the end, because I mean, right after that, that's whenever they're like, okay, well, we gotta just find more fighters now to compete in the tournament.
Well, the final battle, before we got there, the final battle between Sub-Zero and Scorpion was worth price of admission. In the cage and everything, very cool.
When it just shows up out of the ground.
Yeah.
You got to see like Cole and Sub-Zero's fight, and Cole was getting his ass handed to him. Sub-Zero took his family and shit.
I liked that they took Cole out of it at that point. Like, I know he comes in a little bit in the end of the fight, but like,
put him on the bench.
Sub-Zero or Scorpion shows up, and that's what the fight it is, and that's what I wanted. That's what we want to see. You know,
I mean, leading up to that, a really cool part I liked, it was just super small, was whenever Sub-Zero goes to like get Cole's family, whenever his wife's walking around the kitchen and she like turns and you just see Sub-Zero behind, like in the doorway. I was like, that's so like, ooh, that was very like a creepy scene to put in a Mortal Kombat. It felt like a horror scene.
I like, and like the glass was all frosted. Like as she was walking, all the glasses were frosted.
I really like that too. Through the whole movie, every time Sub-Zero shows up, like it starts snowing or stuff starts freezing. And I thought that was really cool. But back to that fight, man. They're fighting, and of course you get like the classic like the MK music and the get over here. And I mean, my main gripe is like this dude speaking Chinese through the whole movie, but this dude knows English to say get over here.
Just get over here. Yo, he's been in hell. He's been in hell for 1,000 years. That's the one sentence he learned.
Never once has spoken English, but he knows how to say get over here.
Yeah. Get over here.
But man, I mean, all the fights were choreographed really well throughout the whole movie, but this fight in particular was really well done, especially with like the sword fighting and stuff. Best fight in the movie, worth the price of admission, like you said. Got to see a lot of it go back and forth, and then the Scorpion started taking the upper hand because he's that dude. He's the boss, man. Scorpion's that guy.
Yeah, I'm more of a Sub-Zero fan. Me and Wyatt have had
I love them both, but man, Scorpion's my guy. That's the dude I play as first if I get a new MK game.
Yeah, I usually play as Sub-Zero.
But yeah, I mean, Scorpion takes to him. I mean, it rips his armor off. Like, he rips his own armor off, which is like kind of like a precursor to what he's gonna be. Because I mean, he finished him at the end, and in the games, this original Sub-Zero gets killed by Scorpion and ends up going to the Nether Realm where like Scorpion was, and he ends up becoming Noob Saibot. Yeah. So in the next game, it's looking like Noob might be coming back as a bad guy,
which they teased. I felt like a bunch of times. All that smoke and shit. I was like,
yeah,
is that Noob? Like, give me Noob.
But yeah, eventually there is another Sub-Zero that comes in. I think it's like his brother or something.
His little brother, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's a good guy. Well, I mean, in the games, we don't know how it's gonna do it.
Yeah, and I mean, after he like rips the armor off, of course he finishes him, and classic Scorpion fashion, his old fatality where he like just breathes fire on him the whole time, which was dope. But I thought it was a little.
Why did he rip his face off?
It was a little.
Should have ripped his face.
He should have like ripped his skull.
Ripped his fucking skin off. I mean, you were in this gory, gross movie. How awesome of a scene would have been just to fucking rip his face off and all this blood coming out. Just like just.
But even so, just the fatality was cool and all, but I thought it was a little anticlimactic for the final fight. You know what I'm saying? I thought he was gonna like, chop his head off, or like, like the one from the recent game where he like chops his head off and kicks it up in the air and he throws like his spear through it. I thought it was gonna be something like crazy like that, but nope. Classic Scorpion fatality.
They could have even combined him. He could have burned him and then did it.
I was expecting Sub-Zero to like pull someone's spine out from their back in the movie at some point, but hey, you got movies to save all this for. And then you pretty much like Shang Tsung is just going back. He's going to end up, getting his forces ready for the tournament. And you just get a little bit of exposition at the end where they're just, we got to find other heroes to compete in the tournament, which earlier in the movie they were like, we are the final heroes that can defend Earthrealm. And at the end they're like, there are others that have to be found. Johnny Cage just happens to be on the poster, which is it's all good. I wasn't going into a movie for Mortal Kombat expecting an amazing like cinematic masterpiece. I was expecting a lot of cheese, and a lot of
even
like,
even the game story is completely ludicrous and
oh my
ridiculous.
God,
Nobody's
yeah.
going into this shit being like, I need some Oscar-worthy storytelling right now. Like, it's a fucking game about a fighting tournament.
It was definitely better story-wise and better writing than like Kong versus Godzilla. I thought, but I mean,
Yeah.
Apples to oranges.
Yeah.
But overall, man, I mean, that was pretty much the movie, but we can kind of go through what our pros and cons were. I mean, we kind of mentioned some of them, but I didn't know like what your favorite scenes were and some pros and cons you guys have.
Like you said, I did mention a few of them. I'll just kind of start with my cons here. Minor gripes here. I hit my major ones, with Cole. I didn't think he was things. Minor gripes. I don't like that when Sonya did her finisher to that. Was it a chick or the dude? That's Cassie Cage's finisher. She shoots the hole through the guy, and it's just the spine.
Yeah,
that's not a Sonya.
That's Sonya's power, though, is that she shoots like those little purple things.
And listen, I'm
but
not.
I understand. I think
games.
the fatality is that other chick's, though.
I'm pretty sure that's her daughter's fatality. It's Cassie Cage's fatality.
Yeah.
Now maybe it's not. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think I do remember that because she does like the little heart thing in between.
Yeah, and it's like. So I was a little upset they didn't give her own fatality. Again, minor gripe. I didn't like that they never gave Kano, but maybe they're setting it up. I didn't like they didn't give Kano the metal piece.
Yeah,
to his eye.
Go over his face. Yeah.
One of my bigger complaints is Jack's arms. I don't quite get it. I mean,
I didn't quite get it either.
Like they're all finding their powers. Was Jack's power that he got metal arms and they became bigger? Like, what if he wouldn't have got metal arms? Would he have just got
that he couldn't do anything with for like a while?
This is what I'm trying to tell y'all. I was, as a non-Mortal Kombat like enthusiast, I was severely confused this whole time trying to
that was
pick
the
this
part
movie
I was
apart when I
confused.
probably shouldn't have been. But I was really confused the whole time because I'm like, well, what?
Yeah.
But I liked it, but I was just really confused.
That was the part I was confused about too, especially because he had those skinny metal arms, and then in that one scene where he had to lift that boulder off her, he was just like, doo, 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 doo. And I was like, how did that happen? Why did that happen?
To me, that was like, okay, that's his power he's unlocking, like the rest of them are. But I was like, if he just had regular arms, or they just got real big, just like fucking
huge.
like
he would look like SpongeBob with those huge arms and that.
Yeah, right. Just like a little anchor tattoos on him.
He's just like.
So I didn't like that. I was like, what the fuck is this? Why are they like? Did they plan for him? Did the Elder Gods like sit up and they're like, yo, that dude's getting his arms blown off. Like, we're giving him metal ass arms. And they tried to explain it with like, this is our material from all the different realms, blah blah blah. But still didn't make no sense.
Went with nano machines. When in doubt, just use nano machines, bro.
You could have built him some big fucking arms. That's what you could have did, you know, instead of these puny little.
He could have just woke up with those big ass metal arms, like, we built these for you.
And not to compare it to this abominable movie, but in like Annihilation, where he just wakes up with big fucking arms,
He's
you
like,
know,
whoa,
just gets up. Yo, speaking of just being
Definitely
younger, I never thought Annihilation was that terrible movie. I know older now it is bad, but it doesn't get bad. It doesn't get super bad until like the last 25 minutes of the movie. Then it gets terrible. The first, like the when he comes out and kills Johnny Cage, that's dope, dude. He's just like, nope.
Yeah, but I mean, there's movies where it's like so bad it's good, but this movie is like it's just bad to me, man. Because in that movie, like that should be another review for another time. But I just remember the one part when like Scorpion and Sub-Zero fight in that movie. He collapses the bridge in between them, and Scorpion, instead of saying like "get over here," he's like "suckers," and then he just leaves. He just leaves. He's just like "suckers," and he just like teleports out. And I was like, "Huh."
But it's like cheesy. I don't know. I actually think that movie is so bad it's good. Like it's just cheesy. All it was like a thin excuse.
I think the original is like bad, it's good. Whereas like,
I think the original's just good.
I don't know. It's a pretty bad movie, but it's a good movie.
Seen the original. I've not seen Annihilation.
Dude,
man, the original.
We should watch it just to do a review of it.
I'll do it. I'll do it after this. Not like right after this.
But it is a bad movie. But overall, Vern, what were your like pros and cons or like favorite scenes of the movie?
I would say my cons were Mileena. I thought she didn't really look like Mileena as far as like the costume and everything. It's just a stupid minor gripe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that mouth thing was awesome.
Yeah.
Like Alex said, that was really cool. As far as like favorite scenes, I don't want to be like cheese or like the dude to do this, but I love that. Like what I came to see at the end of the day was Scorpion versus Sub-Zero, and that fight at the end was awesome. Like you said, a little anticlimactic. I would have liked it to be a little bit of a bigger finale, but like it was awesome, and I can't wait to see more of that type of like dynamic on screen because you know they're gonna fight again eventually.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And you gotta think in the next movie, like, 'cause I'm sure there's gonna be another one. They're probably gonna have a bigger budget. They'll be able to do a little bit more, maybe make everything look a little bit better, and also bring in those other characters that were missing too.
Right, right. And then I do want to see Ryan Reynolds as Luke Cage, like I was saying. That's not really like a pro or con. That's just a wishful thought.
Ryan Reynolds as Johnny Cage would be awesome. My pros and cons here. I just had, of course, the pros with the fatalities. You know, the other movies we never really got the fatalities. We never really got to see any blood really. The characters really were true to the games. That was another pro. Whereas like Liu Kang, Kung Lao. I mean, Kung Lao's first appearance, he pops up like he teleports in and does the spin kick. Where I was like, that is like he does that whenever he enters the match. It's awesome. And then of course one of the things I really liked was they kept it cheesy. They didn't really try to be super serious about it. They weren't taking themselves way too seriously. It was a very like, you know, it's a Mortal Kombat movie. How realistic can it get?
Right.
How realistic do you want it as a Mortal Kombat fan? You know, like I want to see heads popping and shit like that. You know,
exactly. Like, and the other thing I had here was they brought the Mortal Kombat theme back. It wasn't the original one. It was kind of redone, but they brought it back and they use it at the right point in the movie too. Right whenever they start fighting there at the end. The cons, we kind of talked about that. Goro, you know, not only did they use him weird, but they killed him. The dude's like, unless they bring him back, man, that was a really bad way to have him go out. I thought in this movie.
Do they ever specifically call him Goro?
I think so.
Because it could be that Katara guy.
I thought they called him Goro.
I don't know. I mean,
they might watch it again. The other con, Cole Young, straight up Cole Young, the whole character, everything about it.
Everything about him.
Everything about him. And then Shang Tsung was on my other cons just because they didn't show him enough. That and Scorpion wasn't really used enough either, which I understand it was kind of for the story. He kind of popped up here and there, like in visions that Cole had. But next movie, I mean, he said he was free at the end of this movie, so I'm expecting Scorpion to be throughout this next movie, man. I want to see more Scorpion because I know that him and either if Sub-Zero comes back as Noob, they're going to end up fighting again, I'm sure.
All right, so what do you want to see in the next movie? Like quick rundown. What would you like to see?
Vern, you want to go first?
I want to see Luke Cage.
More
like everybody.
Johnny Cage.
You know what I mean? No, Johnny Cage.
Oh yeah, Ryan Reynolds. Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds, Johnny Cage.
Luke Cage is from Marvel or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
I want to see Johnny Cage, Ryan Reynolds, okay. Liu Kang, please. Give me more of him as well. And then I really like Raiden, and every time he came in and they're just lightning and just I really like that. Like I want to see more of that as well. You know what I mean? Like just that type of stuff. What I don't want to see is that Cole dude.
Maybe they're like, if they have enough bad feedback from this movie about him, maybe they will kill him off in the next one. Since Scorpion is free, they don't technically need Cole around anymore. So maybe you can just kind of, you know.
That's one of my things about it. I think they should, even though it's a terrible movie, do a callback straight to Annihilation, have fucking Shao Kahn come out and stomp that dude's head out with a hammer. Just
right at the beginning of the movie.
Right at the beginning. First 10 minutes of the movie.
I'm definitely hoping Shao Kahn's gonna, because I mean you've seen the statues of him in this movie. They had him. But I think that would be a great twist in the second movie if they have like, because of Cole Young from this movie, and if they build him up through the second one, and then in the tournament they're like, oh yeah, Cole's gonna be that chosen one or whatever, and then boom, head explodes by hammer.
Yeah, just
crazy death. Nobody sees it coming.
Up, just like
they just killed your main character. How about that? And then boom,
Game of Thrones
Kang.
on you.
Yeah, then Liu Kang is going to be, or somebody else is going to be the next champion. But yeah, any more, Alex?
Yeah, I'd like to. Me personally, the tiny thing. I'd like to see Shang Tsung get old. I like old Shang Tsung.
Yeah.
So give me old Shang Tsung. I don't need the same actor is fine, but you know, just make him look older to me.
Yeah.
I mean. Slow it down.
Slow it down.
the movie's there. The people who are gonna watch this Mortal Kombat movie are still gonna watch it regardless.
Yeah.
You don't need Oscar-worthy performances. Slow it down. Show us fans what we want. We're gonna watch it regardless. Like
yeah.
that's
to
what
be
it is.
honest, it might have worked better as a series on HBO Max or something. Like if
It
they
might
would
have,
have
and
used this as the pilot, like an hour and a half pilot of just this movie leading into the tournament as the rest of the series, would have been awesome.
Yeah, and they still might. I mean, we don't know where it's gonna go from here, but
True. You never know.
I'm with Vernon. Give me some more Raiden. You know, give me more of the characters that I know. Less Cole Young. Kill him in the first 5 minutes.
That's a selfish gripe because you're, it's really you want to make it for the fans at the end of the day, but I would love to see more of the characters that I am comfortable with that I know, so
that makes sense.
It would make me enjoy it more.
I don't want to see a new, and I'm fine with Cole Young. He can stay in the movie as long as he gets more backseat. I don't go to a Mortal Kombat movie wanting a new character. I go to Mortal Kombat to see Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. Right.
There's 15 games out.
There's these over 60, 70 characters you could choose from. Probably 100 characters you can choose from, man.
Yeah, give me them. Give me any of them. I would have been happy with Stryker, and people hate Stryker, and I'd have been happier with Stryker.
Yeah, I mean, some of the ones that I'm kind of hoping for, of course, bigger and crazier fatalities. More Raiden, of course. I know he says he's not allowed to interfere, but I'm still hoping for a Raiden fight scene where he does that spin move, bro, where he just hoping to see that. Another character I'm hoping to see is maybe Kenshi. He was always one of my favorite characters in the games, the blind swordsman. He always used telekinesis and shit. Awesome. But other than that, man, just stay true to the games. If they keep going this route, I'm sure it'll turn out fine in the next movie. I mean, I really enjoyed this one, except for just the Cole Young storyline. So I mean,
which I didn't hate. I still generally enjoyed this movie, and I'd watch it again.
Yeah, definitely, I would too. One thing I forgot to mention is we got to see the bicycle kick too in the movie, which was awesome by Liu Kang. It was pretty cool.
And that's what I've been waiting. I wanted to see it so bad.
It happened, man.
If we're picking characters for next movie, I want Ermac.
Ermac?
I don't know how you getting him in there. Ermac's always been one of my favorite characters. I love Ermac.
That would be cool, man. Is there a character you want to see in the next one, Vern?
Man,
that wasn't in this one.
That wasn't in this one. If you can remember any other MK characters,
I'm having trouble. Because I keep thinking about the big dude with four-armed Goro. I think about Johnny Cage. I think about... I'm not sure. Probably that noob.
Noob?
If they do...
It's looking like he might be in the next one.
Because he was always intriguing to me. I had no idea he was Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until you guys just said that here. But I remember seeing him on the character list back, playing as him in other games. But I didn't know. So that's interesting. I would like to know more about him.
Yeah. So hopefully, they have so much shit to explore. Because after they get past Shang Tsung, and then you got Shao Kahn, and then you go into the sorcerers like Quan Chi. And all that. There's so many.
Then you get into Elder Gods, Shinnok and shit.
Yeah, Shinnok and shit. So there's so many bad guys that you can go through.
What's it? Shao Kahn is the dude with he's the big dude with
he's the one you saw on the statues in the movie. In this one.
Yeah, he's like the
with
Thanos
that huge hammer. Yeah.
He's usually the main villain. Shang Tsung usually works for him in most stories. Yeah. He works for him.
But it's looking like we're going to be getting other ones. Apparently, the rumor has the dude that plays Sub-Zero is signed on for 4 movies.
That's what I saw.
Yeah, so at least it's looking like we're possibly getting 4 of them at least, and I am all in for all of them, man. As long as they keep it up with stay true to the games with the blood and the violence and the fatalities. That's what everybody's here for.
Do 3 movies of build up and then give me a 4th movie where it is literally just back to back fighting, just an hour and a half and just balls to the wall.
I was surprised in this movie. That's one thing I had was how much fighting there was. There wasn't really a lot of downtime in this movie. There was a lot of shit going on.
One more thing that I thought was a missed opportunity is they never got me the classic Mortal Kombat view where it was a 2D kind of thing. Yeah. And I really thought when Jax and that guy fought on that bridge, I was like, this is the perfect scene where they can set the camera up where it's a 2D fight.
They should do that. And just have the camera sideways, straight on the horse where it just shows them fighting. That would be awesome, man.
Show me a minute and a half, 2-minute fight scene where it's just a good camera angle like that.
They should do that.
That would have been a nice callback.
They should do that in the next one. But before we go, what rating would you guys give this out of 10? Like, what's your movie rating for this movie?
I give it like a 7.4. I thought it was fine.
Okay, Vern?
Good C.
I'll give it a 7.
That's what I was going to give it a 7 as well. I thought it was decent. It wasn't bad. It wasn't outstanding or like amazing or anything either. But it was a good movie. I would definitely watch it again though. It was entertaining.
I'm gonna tap that rating. No even numbers. Wasn't that tap that mindset? 7 point.
But yeah, that's it for this one. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to go follow on Twitter. Make sure to go follow Tap That for Alex over there. And until next time, we'll see everybody later.